Hello there guys, it's Daniel Charles back here again. It's Monday, so it's another episode of Added Time answering your questions that you kindly submitted. Really excited to get in some of the questions today. We've got ones regarding the goalkeeping situation, obviously, also about Chelsea women who started the season really well, and how I met Todd Boehly and what I said to him. We'll get into that. If you are new around here, hit that like button so you get the latest Chelsea content. Hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on. Share it around with your Chelsea friends and even non-Chelsea friends. Maybe we can get some conversion going on here too. You can also financially support the show by using my affiliate link down in the description box below for MOTM Football. We are coming up to the festive season, so if you are looking for some inspiration for a Chelsea friend, family member, loved one, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and you want some good Chelsea gifts, I think this is the perfect place for you because there's brilliant framed artwork regarding Chelsea winning the Champions League in 2012, winning the Champions League in 2021. There's t-shirts, some nice stuff there. There's mugs as well. I know there's coasters too. There's a lot of stuff that I think would be a good gift. And maybe you just want to gift yourself at this time of the year. No problem with that. Use my affiliated link down below. And yeah, it's some good stuff there from MOTM Football. But let's get into your questions. Firstly here, from Andy Wace, who asked, new goalkeeper needed in January window? If so, who could be available? So yeah, this is obviously a relevant topic at the moment with Robert Sanchez, the costly error he made at the weekend. And I answered a question about goalkeeper last week. And I think the answer I generally gave was that Chelsea have invested in a lot of goalkeepers in recent times, and especially younger ones like Slonina, who obviously they think about for the future and then kind of trying to manage that. But when you have goalkeepers at the current point costing you major points, I mean, that's obviously a devastating thing. My general feeling, so who would I go for if Chelsea were in the market for a goalkeeper in January? Dream scenario, I would have said Andre Onana, and I've got to still say this, and I know it's kind of irrelevant, he ain't moving from Man United anytime soon. I still think he's a very good goalkeeper, and the first few months at Man United do not completely eradicate all the stuff he did for Inter Milan and Ajax before that. I still think he's a very strong goalkeeper. I think Man United be Man United is kind of my explanation for what's going on there. I just think it's a fundamentally broken club that makes a lot of players look bad. So I would have gone for him. The other goalkeeper who was playing in Serie A last season, who I would have gone for and is still playing in Serie A, is Mike Maignan. I think that would be my first choice option. I think he's a very strong goalkeeper. I think he is just very dominant, very assuring, and also just technically with the ball at his feet, but just a real command of his box. And I can't see him moving in January, but we know what Chelsea have been like under this new ownership. They've proven us wrong in terms of how much business they can do mid-season, so we will see. My more realistic answer for you is I just want to see what Petrovic is like and how he could do, because there's a lot of people who are complimentary about his skill set and feel he could quickly take over starting spot over Robert Sanchez if he gets the opportunity. I don't think that opportunity will come against Brentford. I think it's more likely to come against Blackburn in the League Cup. But once I see that may actually turn out to be the solution, hopefully. Next question here from Rob. Rob Pratley, who's been a guest on the show before. A CFC women one, best fullback pairing at the club currently and why? It's a very difficult one, and it's a sign of Emma Hayes, her consistent ability and the pressure on that squad and the pressure to consistently recruit good players, to never let players rest on their laurels. And I think that's a really big part of what makes Emma Hayes Chelsea so dominant consistently, and they continue to evolve and compete. She has, obviously, you've got Ashley Lawrence who came in over the summer. Eve Perisic played yesterday, and you've got Charles very much holding it down on the other side at the moment. It's a difficult one. I would say Charles definitely on the left side. Between Perisic and Lawrence, I think I want to see some more evidence over a longer period of time to see actually who's going to take that position. There's obviously a lot of games in the calendar too, so I suspect some rotation. You even know in a sticky situation you can throw Jess Carter in at either wing-back position, to be honest, and I think that's obviously another great thing for Emma Hayes to have within a skill set. And also, like, moving to a 4 if she wants to. There's so much talent within this squad. I think Lawrence, because she is the new signing, may get a few more minutes to integrate into life at Chelsea. But what a blessing it is to have, and we saw this last season with Buchanan in terms of being able to adapt. And when you have other players that you can trust, you still had Eriksson who could play in central defence. You, of course, have Millie Bright. There are other players who can kind of rotate in and out when a player maybe is adjusting to life at Chelsea. So I know that isn't really an answer, but I still think it's very early and I just want to see more evidence. But I think the great thing for Emma Hayes and for Chelsea and for Chelsea fans is there is so much talent there, and I think they're going to push them all the way again this season. Seb C asked, what exactly did you ask the Todd father to get a picture? So yes, I posted this over the weekend on Saturday before the game against Arsenal. I met Todd Boehly himself in the Megastore. He was just there chilling. He was having a conversation and very happy to take pictures. Simply asked him, like and subscribe, like I do to all of you, and I got a picture with him, which was cool. Chris asks, fully fit squad, who's your centre-back pairing? I'm going to go with the centre-back pairing that started on Saturday, and I know that's kind of rolled back from what I expect for the long term, but I'm never ashamed and never, too proud to admit when I'm wrong on something. When I see evidence that proves me wrong, I'm happy to say I was wrong, and it's Thiago Silva and Levi Colwill. Obviously, Levi, as a left centre-back, we want to see him in that position for the long term, and Thiago at 39 still looks like one of the best centre-backs in this league. Yes, Wesley Fofana, I rate highly. Benoit Badiashile, I think, looks like a brilliant signing. You know how much I like Trevor, but it looks like his days at Chelsea are very much numbered at this point, sadly. And Axel Disasi's looked very competent since he signed for Chelsea and dominant in games. So it's difficult because there's so many options. Rory asks, given the success of the Gallagher, Enzo and Caicedo trio in midfield, what position will Nkunku be used in when he's back fit? Should it be a lone striker rather than a 10? I really do think the way this midfield is clicked, and it sounds silly to stumble upon, but I think a lot of us expected in the summer, and listen, it's all sliding doors, and if Nkunku was fit, what would be the formation right now? But I genuinely do think because Gallagher has played exceptionally so far this season, and Enzo and Caicedo are starting to form that chemistry, and just as a trio, they're working really well. And I think you saw the evidence of that against a good team against Arsenal on Saturday. It really is now, I think, becoming a conversation in the 4-3-3 that Nkunku is going to be fighting for one of those front three spots, and we know he can play that role. We know he can play maybe a retracted role, even as a central striker. He can play off the left, he can play off the right, and all the attackers. I mean, Mudryk definitely is more of a left winger, but we know Sterling can play off the right too. Palmer can play across that front three as well. So I think there's a lot of flexibility for Pochettino, and I really do think now, rather than thinking who out of that midfield three is going to be taken out when Nkunku returns, I actually think it's more who's going to be taken out of the front three when Nkunku returns. I think that's how I'm feeling based on recent evidence. Tom asked, do you still think Thiago Silva needs to be dropped? And I kind of answered this already. No. And listen, I say this all the time, and I said this when, the Marc Cucurella thing recently. When you see evidence presented to you that this proves an opinion, and it wasn't, this is always the thing, and I sort of encourage other people to be like this as well. When you go so extreme on an opinion and you double down and you say the most outlandish things, it's why I don't act like that on this show, or I try not to, and conduct myself in a way where I'm just saying hyperbolic things for hyperbolic sake, because maybe at the moment it's kind of the trendy thing to say. Even my criticism of Silva was sort of I sort of said at the time that I don't think that means that Silva, even my concerns of him for the long term at Chelsea, means that he can never have a good game again. But based on the evidence of recent weeks, he's had some really good games. So he's going to stay in the first team. And very rightly, he stays in the first team. So I don't think he needs to be dropped. And I'm sorry for doubting you, Thiago. You are a legend of Chelsea and a legend of football. And long may it continue. So that is it for today's edition of Added Time. Thank you for submitting your questions. Apologies to those I didn't get to. Please hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, give us a 5-star rating on the podcast. And I will see you again very soon. All the best.